There's never really been a time when heading out on a first date wasn't completely nerve-wracking, an ordeal that can sometimes feel about as fun as a job interview. Of course, unlike a job interview, the person sat across the table from you isn't scanning your CV for gaps or spelling errors, prodding you about where you want to be in 5 years' time when you're not even sure what you want for tea that night. No, with the first date it's far worse. Your personality is the CV laid out awkwardly for scrutiny, eked out with small talk and clumsy scrambles for common ground, and scraps of connection you can't tell yourself it's not personal because it is. Excruciatingly so. I'm an unfixable nerd who is completely at loss when it comes to channeling the easy, swishy-haired charm of my more obviously attractive mates. A lazy eye stops me baiting my eyelashes winningly, and I will always, without fail, find a smear of lipstick on my front teeth during a dash to the loo. But after a few drinks or a successful grab at a mutual interest, I can be reasonably funny and chatty, with a few daft stories up my sleeve to help loosen things up a bit. Maybe, dare I say, I can even be a low-key fanciable. And so prior to the pandemic, I was doing okay, sometimes even finding myself exuding more confidence than the person firing nervous gaze, dodging questions at me from across the drinks tray. I'd even, miracle of miracles, finally managed to rid myself of that nervous first date knee tremble. After a good couple of years of being single, I had begun to pick up on the notions of the dating language, how to subtly show you like someone while carefully gauging their interest in you, how to wear a top that won't make it too obvious when you spill pasta sauce down the front and so on. But now I and many other single people have been rattling about at home for more than a year, and I have to admit that my interactions with the outside world have become curiously flat. I've never exactly been the life and soul of the party, but now the majority of my conversations are held during Zoom calls or WhatsApp and generally revolve around what we can and can't do during the pandemic. I've come to realize that I've become quite boring, gossip replaced by updates about my new air fryer or my taking up of daily runs. It's been a year completely snapped out of juice and funny bits needed to lubricate silly giggly all-night conversation.